Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy. And this is another crazy brew from Patreon subscriber Milan, who sends in some of the crazier brews that you've seen on this channel. And today, he has dipped into a couple different wells that the channel has already been on, but never quite in this combination. I will first direct your attention to Anvil of Bogarden. Players have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of each player's draw step, they draw an additional card, then discard a card. Alongside Chains of Mephistopheles, if a player would draw a card except the first one they draw on each of their draw steps, they must discard a card instead. If they discard a card this way, they draw a card. If the player doesn't discard a card this way, they mill a card. Basically, card advantage not allowed, and Anvil plus Chain forces both players to start doing really ugly looting. Like Anvil of Bogarden forces you to loot in your draw step. Chains of Mephistopheles forces you to rummage anytime you would draw. So you have to rummage in order to loot, and it becomes a nasty little squeeze where everybody's just quickly running out of cards. I've featured this in a number of shells before. You could just search BoshNRoll Chains of Mephistopheles. I'm sure multiple videos will come up if you're interested in this sort of thing. And what we're doing with that is we have engines that don't really need the draw step to function. Life from the Loam is really good with this. You can dredge Loam to replace one of the Anvil draws, and then Chains doesn't trigger because you dredged, you didn't draw. Works out pretty well. Punishing Fire kind of likes being in the graveyard. You can just let it get milled away or looted away and then pick it up later when you're ready for it. Or you could pick it up proactively and have some padding, and then when you're doing all your rummaging and looting, you get to keep your good spells and discard the Punishing Fire that you can just pick up again. Urza's Saga, working in the background, doesn't care if you have a hand, just does its thing. Currency Converter, you're converting all these cards that are getting looted and rummaged away into treasures and 2/2s, and this poops out of Urza's Saga. Then we also have 4 copies of Orcish Bowmasters, which amasses an army anytime your opponent draws a card when they're not supposed to, and Anvil and Chains both force draws that you're not supposed to make. Or Chains doesn't force a draw, it just makes the draw worse. Anvil forces draws that you're not supposed to make. That's a steady supply of armies to be amassed, which is great because there's 1 copy of Contamination in the deck. This is the Black Blood Moon. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Contamination unless you sacrifice a creature. If a land is tapped for mana, it makes black instead of any other type or amount. If you have your opponent under the Anvil, and you're making an army every turn from your opponent, you could sack that army to Contamination every turn and just keep this Black Blood Moon around. That's fun stuff. There's only 1 of these. It's a fun of in the deck. It's something that you could dig for when it's appropriate, but I've also played dedicated Contamination decks on the channel too. So all of these pieces have been seen before, but not quite together like this. Stack Faden can give you a ton of card advantage. It can also cause all sorts of headaches for your opponent when there's a Chains of Mephistopheles in play if you target them. You can also just fuel a Bowmaster, get in for a bunch of damage. Dak is here in large numbers. Dak is great with Punishing Fire and Life from the Loam. This is the Strifopile angle of the deck. I played Strifopile last week on the channel. That was a really great video. I had actual Strifo with me on the call talking about his deck choices and process when he plays. Check that out. There's definitely some bones of Strifopile in here with the Dak stuff. Minskin Boo doesn't care about Chains or Anvil, just gets opponents dead. And Paradox Zone, another win condition at the end. A wild concoction of cards. Oh, I didn't even mention, this is also a Nikvit deck. We have Veteran Explorer and Cabal Therapy. This, I'm gonna be honest, is my most suspicious part of the deck. I'm not sure we are that well set up to leverage a Veteran Explorer, and Cabal Therapy is kind of just worse than Thoughtseize in a lot of environments. Guess we're assuming that we're going to be triggering Orcish Bowmaster a lot with all the anvils and decks and stuff, and we'll have stuff around to discard. So we'll see how this comes together. That's the most suspicious part. After I just listed like 5 different suspicious things this deck is doing, Veteran Explorer Cabal Therapy is here too. Have fun with that. And that's the deck. I think I've mentioned all of the engines. All the cards have been shouted out, and we're kind of a Strifopile control deck. We're kind of an Ickfit deck. We're kind of an Anvil Chains Prison deck. And here it is. This is Milan's Brew that I've nicknamed Chainbow. I think that's a good name. Milan usually has a punny name that comes with the deck. Didn't get one this time, but I found Chainbow. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's do this thing. We're on the draw in round number 1, and after giving it a light roast in the deck tech, we're immediately rewarded with a Veteran Explorer Cabal Therapy start. Let's see if it matters. If we just get turn 1 Delver here. Might be in some trouble anyway. There it is. Okay. Good news is this is not a deck that plays a lot of basics. If we do trigger this Explorer. Oh, cool. I could play Swamp. Therapy probably names Brainstorm. Or I could name Force of Will to make sure my veteran goes. I'm going to Therapy them. Okay, I'm going to go for Brainstorm. How'd we do? All right, we got a Brainstorm. And there's a Lightning Bolt, Sauron's Ransom, Orcish Bowmasters in there as well. If they're Grixis, they definitely don't have very many basics. Yeah, this is going to be a weird one to figure out. They're going to be under my contamination with plenty of action. Their own Bowmasters is going to make Anvil rough if I draw it, so I'm going to need a Punishing Fire sooner than later. I think this game becomes close to unlosable if I find a Punishing Fire, but in the meantime, we're in trouble. Chains and Mephistopheles, which they did just see me draw. I'm going to play Explorer, and I'm going to immediately Therapy them. This is kind of awkward because if they have a single basic, they can cast Sauron's Ransom. Alright, looks like they're Bowmastering instead. Sure. I don't have access to blue right now. I have 2 green sources, a ton of black sources. I can only play 1 Chains this turn anyway, so I might as well get... Even are the blue cards in the main deck? It's just Dak, and then there's some blue stuff in the sideboard. I think I want to fill out my Jund core here and deal with blue later. Does that even make sense? Magic is hard. I actually think I am going to end up getting green-blue here, because I have tons of black sources. I have 2 red sources, both of which are hiding from Wasteland right now. Yeah, I'm just going to invest in my future success. I'm going to name Sauron's Ransom with this. No basics produced from my opponent. And they have a Ponder in their hand. Okay. Chains get in there. Chains, by the way, not legendary and not an enchant world. You can have more than one in play at the same time. Bummer. Force of Will. That was such a good find. That turns that Ponder into a real card. Alright, come on, deck. Punishing Fire. Give it to me. Shadow Spear. And if I ever have a creature, that's a pretty good one. How do we feel about the second Chains of Mephistopheles? And Shadow Spear. If they just hold that Force of Will for 1 turn, they win. Yeah, I don't even know what I can do here. If I draw my own Bowmaster, I can pick off theirs and block Army and buy a turn. That wasn't it. Okay. We had a pretty cool start, but we were just dead because they're Delver. Disappointing. We were so close to doing this stuff. Okay. Assassin's Trophy, which was one of the most important things in the deck that I played with Strifo, the actual Strifopile deck. Those are all on the sideboard here. Kind of tough. I can see an argument for Endurance. I can see arguments for Pyroblast. I can see arguments for Shoulder the Apocalypse. So Minsk and Boo, liability against Lightning Bolt decks. I'm going to start with these 7 cards and then put Endurance in my maybe pile. Contamination doesn't actually lock this opponent out necessarily. Do like the DAC. Yeah, the more I look at this, the more I just wish that these 8 slots, the whole Nick Fit thing was just all the cards I'm boarding in anyway. Like, just have Assassin's Trophy and better interaction in the main deck. If I trim on this sort of thing, I don't think Cabal Therapy is super important here. I can still ping Veteran Explorer with Bowmaster, and Veteran Explorer blocks armies like a boss. 24 lands in the deck. I think I can shave a Mox Diamond. Maybe being on the play, that's really good, though. So with only 1 loam, Mox Diamond also a liability. And having all these anvils against a Bowmaster mirror. But now I'm actually equipped to fight Bowmasters. I think I'm just getting all the way off Cabal Therapy, which also makes Veteran Explorer worse. I still have some in the deck for reasons. Maybe I shouldn't, and I'll just get the Endurances in here and just become full turtle mode. Yeah, I'll try that. I don't know if we're going to board in 10 cards in most matchups. I certainly hope this doesn't end up just being me boarding out the package in the deck I didn't like. Gonna mulligan this one. And this is why Mox Diamond doesn't just go in random decks. If these 2 Mox Diamonds were just cards, I would be much more inclined to keep a hand like this one. But this doesn't actually do anything. This would be better as Chrome Mox, and it's actually not even close. I have to go to 5 here. Okay. Wait, I thought I cut the Minskin boost. Did I put the wrong pile out of the deck? What just happened? Oh, I think I made a pile to cut and then didn't actually cut it and then cut other stuff instead. Awkward. Well, I hope you're good, Minskin Boo. I'm sending you both to the bottom. Yeah, I think having my lands under me and a Planeswalker are more important than my 4-mana win condition that I can't currently cast and also dies to Lightning Bolt. And is also my opponent's avatar, so what chance do we have with a Minskin Boo when they've already committed their life to it? Sworn fealty to the Minsk. And they have DRC this game when I have Pyroblast for the Delver that they've got me with last game. It's all coming up the way I wanted. Not going to complain about Urza Saga here. It is about the tastiest wasteland target that exists, but still not going to complain about it. They are brainstorming. I think I want to Pyroblast this, actually. Verdant Catacombs can't get basic Mountain. I can get Taiga or Badlands here. I have a backup red source, or this has to be a red source. That's what we're saying. I have 2 green sources in my hand, only 1 black. I guess I'll go with Badlands. Okay, aggressive Pyroblast in a situation where I kind of need it. This does hang out my Badlands. Now, if they Wasteland Badlands, Urza Saga can't do anything. This is a really tough spot, but I hope I just got a meaningful squeeze on them. Cool. They did have another land, but they didn't find the Wasteland that they were almost certainly digging for. And they are getting immediately delirious, too. Did not shuffle their library. Chains showing up right on time. I needed you last turn. I'm still going to try to run this saga to fruition. Getting Shadow Spear equipped to something is helpful here. Taking my 3, life total dropping. They played a land that wasn't Wasteland. Another Channeler. Don't love it. I would love to draw Endurance. That would be a good one. That Cling to Dust in my sideboard would actually be great right now. Children of the Apocalypse. Do I want to shove that into Daze? I might not get another chance to cast this card. What are my tutor bullets? It's just Shadow Spear and Converter. I take 6 in the air here. None of it's good. Okay, I'm going to try for the Shieldred. I think that's going to be better than... Okay, they're fetching in response. What's the play? Bowmaster, okay. So they're killing my Construct. Now they would need Daze or Force Blue card, which isn't a lot to ask of a Delver deck, especially when they kept their hand. I'm here for this Shadow Spear, and we just gotta hope that Shieldred solos this game. On the stack, question mark. Force pitching blue card. 3, 6, 7, 8. We cannot win this game. I don't have a sweeper. They have a bunch of stuff. Just easily delvered, picked apart. And let's just talk about that real quick. Because Strifopile is a deck that's kind of built to go up and over Delver. But Strifopile, in all of the slots that we've dedicated to Nick Fit and the silly stuff. I mean, pick some silly stuff, but I think there are 2.5 silly engines in this deck when you probably just want one. And there's no Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath to gain life and get ahead of days. There's no main deck removal functionally. We have 2 Punishing Fires and 4 Bowmasters. So like all these Assassin's trophies that were really important in my Strifo League. I think we've gone just slightly too deep, but let's hope that other decks can't punish quite as hard and we get a chance to get some stuff under us. Let's go. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the drone round 2, and the gang's all here. We have Hammer, Chains, and Bowmasters. I'm going to keep. Okay, we're dead. Cool. Alright, the Mox Diamond that I'm aligned in last round that we had to mulligan a 6 because Mox Diamond was in our deck. I would really like to draw it right now. No love. Okay, I'm going to play Swamp and pass, and we will find out in what ways we're dead. I hope we get to see some cool Mind's Desire action. Boring. Okay. I mean, Chains is pretty cool with this. Okay. I'm going to play Chains of Mephistopheles and hope it meaningfully impacts their game plan, but a lot of the Mystic Forge combo decks use their graveyard too, so I might not be doing anything here. They have Ancient Tomb their way down to 9. There's Mystic Forge. They're at 8 now. They're going to have to loot 2, discarding Saga and Serum Powder. And if they whiff here, we're kind of in a spot where Bowmasters is a real problem. I don't know. They're at 8 already. I haven't done a single point to them. They did that. Yeah, we could just Bowmaster into Minsk and Boo and close it, maybe. Gonna hope for the best here. Gotta main phase the Bowmaster. And it's extra bad. Or no, it Chains. No, never mind. It's not extra bad. I have to remind myself that Chains does not cause any additional draws to happen. It just puts conditions on the draws that are happening. And if your opponent happens to be hellbent, it actually stops draws from happening. So, or no, they mill one and then draw a card. I don't know what's going on anymore. Chains is hard. The Crystal Vein is in the mix now. Opponent's at 3. If they tap that ring, they die. If they take extra turns, they could die to their ring. They just got Walking Ballista, which will... Oh, no. Now they can kill Bowmaster. Okay, so they Ballista, they can kill Bowmaster. They tap the ring, go to 3 Burden. Doesn't seem like a great answer for them. Now I get to shove Minsk and Boo. Okay. I think that it is better to fetch a new red source than to give them 1 life with Grove. Because they're going to take 2 on their turn. I need to deal 1 damage to them here. Walking Ballista can't absorb everything it needs to here. Okay, so opponent, I'll never know how much Chains actually did there, but it certainly felt good. Opponent just kept a double Ancient Tomb start and went all the way in on it, and it didn't get there. Sweet. Okay, all my stuff that can kill their stuff is good. I don't know if I can rely on Drown on the Lock. I don't know if they're going to use their graveyard really for Cling to Dust, but I will. I do want these 7 cards, I'm quite sure. Contamination seems way too slow. It would be effective if it hits, but it's very slow. Punishing Fire can hit Planeswalkers, and if they are going fast and loose with their life total, Paradox Zone way too slow. Deck, just literally playing against an artifact deck. Bowmasters was great. Chains was great. Anvil actually seems kind of sus. I might not need that half of the combo. That's another like slow grindy kind of thing that is not really necessary for this matchup. I like the Cabal Therapy. That is meaningful interaction, and they have like 3 spells in their deck that matter. Mox Diamond, the speed would be nice if it lines up correctly, but they're a Karn deck. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to leave those in. Currency Converter seems unlikely to convert currency in a way that I'm excited about for this matchup. And the speed of Veteran Explorer is nice if it lines up all correctly, which it might not. Do I need Shadow Spear? Maybe. And Shadow Spear is an artifact that activates, but if I cut Shadow Spear, only Mox Diamond can be got off Urza Saga forever. Okay, I'm gonna do this, like this. No Force of Wills in the deck. Kinda rough, but they did keep a Defense Grid start, where my deck barely has instants in it. This is a Mox Diamond start. Do I trust my deck to deliver spells I care about? Because the Fire plus Grove is cool that it's here. Blind Therapy, no prospects of having a creature. Kinda weird. I'll keep it. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith. Now we play Whack-A-Mole. Do I name the One Ring? Do I name Mystic Forge? Do I name Karn the Great Creator? I think I'm going to name Mystic Forge. That's the best one. Let's hope we get there. They had all 3. Cool. All right. Well, I took your Mystic Forge. Good luck over there. And now they just have their choice of which banger they want to deploy. I would start with the Ring myself. So I guess Karn this early and uncontested is pretty messed up. And I have 2 Mox Diamonds in my hand, so Karn is also Hymn to Tarok. That was a good start. I would play this deck too if hands looked like that. All right, they're making wishes. Are we going to get the coding, or are we going straight for Lattice? Oh, Trinisphere, yeah, that works too. Cool. Super dead. Minsk and Boo, both of them together. If they have a mana source of any kind, or any 2 mana source, they can shove Lattice here. Paradox Engine. There's the Ring. Well, I can kill Karn, but I don't know if that's going to be helpful. Does that matter? Is it better to send this anywhere else? Just have another Karn anyway? I think I pass, actually. It's probably better to pressure the second Karn, or just go face and hope we can cheese over the finish line again. Because this Karn is already at a spot where I don't care about it. And if they attack with Trinisphere, it's off. That's not a thing. Manifold Key, that's powerful. It's less powerful when it costs 3. That was cool. They plus Karn targeting nothing. Okay, now they have the 6 mana to make Lattice. I think I fire Karn and then drop in Minsk and Boo and just try to get to work here. All I can do is hope that they can't get there. So this Bowmaster is tempting, but I think it's worse than Minsk and Boo still. Just putting creatures into play and turning them sideways. Opponents at 5 here with Ancient Tomb for mana and kind of squeezed under their own Trinisphere a little bit. I don't know if they can go infinite from here. It's possible. There's the Zone. They can draw 3 cards off the Ring. If they play Karn, it untaps all their mana, and then they can do more stuff. But I don't actually have to cast another spell to kill them here. I can attack for 4 with what I have, and they take 3 from their own Ring. They managed to dodge using Ancient Tomb this turn. Basalt Monolith. Is that infinite? I just have a reflex where anytime I see Basalt Monolith, I assume my opponent is going infinite. It's certainly a lot. They're going to have to Ballista me this turn. And I'm now feeling that Bowmaster would have been the better play. Yeah, I might have messed this one up. They've drawn like 20 cards off the ring this turn so far, and they're not even done. And the cards in hand, they can ballista me. I don't need to make them do this. Should have believed in Bowmaster, it seems. Yeah, I don't think anything has really changed here in how I think about the matchup. And Drown on the Lock is literally a counterspell, which is something the rest of my deck does not do. Yeah, maybe literally a counterspell is worth including. Okay, this is a lot of hate for artifacts I'm going to keep. And now I can try to get clever and Cabal Therapy Grim Monolith, or I can just name the force that I'm actually afraid of. I think I am going to go for Grim Monolith here. Grim Monolith is the name. How'd we do? Missed entirely. They have Basalt Monolith in hand. And if I had just named Mystic Forge, which is my default, we would have hit their only payoff in their hand. However, their hand does not look very good against Force of Vigor. Inventor's Fair Mox Opal. Strong start. Chains of Mephistopheles. Hello. Well, let's do stuff then. Starting to get the hooks in here. There's the city. There's the Basalt Monolith, which does not cast their card. Okay, now it does. Okay, what I'm going to do is let them activate Key, and then Force of Vigor, the Key, and the Monolith. Bang. And then I have Dak Faden. They have Mystic Forge in hand. They have another Opal, which kind of sucks. Oh, I don't have blue mana. Nice deck. Shit. Okay, I guess we're chilling. Gotta hope that they continue to hit their fail rate for a little while. They can Serum Powder this turn, which can cast Mystic Forge next. Come on, deck. Fetch land. Fetch land. Alright, well, I'll cast the Minskin Boo, even if not the deck. Yeah, another thing that's happening here is this 4-color deck has so many basics in it because it's also trying to be a Veteran Explorer deck. I'm going to Therapy the Mystic Forge out of their hand. Bang. They found a ring, but I have the chains messing with that. Yeah, the shoehorning the Nick Fit thing in here is not only eating up 8 deck slots that you would rather have real spells in, but it's actively undermining the castability of the spells you do have. Just really tough sell here. Okay, Chains is going to eat a draw here, and they looted away a second One Ring. They have protection from everything. Oh, what's up, Should Mother? I could ping myself to draw 3 cards, but with Chains in play, that's not even good. Okay, Shieldred plus Chains is going to be a problem for them to dig out of, I hope. This Paradox engine not looking good. Yeah, you lose 2 life. And losing 2 life is not something that's prevented by protection from everything. Wow, Dismember was your unknown card. That's such a beating. Your life total does get very low here. You're at 10. I have 4 in play that you know about. Could be 7, could be 8, and I loot 4 cards. Chains. Chains is rough on me here. But it is keeping this ring in check as well. And if they can get Hellbent, I guess they just mill. Or I don't actually know how Chains works. So if you, from Hellbent, draw 3 cards, do you mill a card, draw 1, and then the game sees 1 and you have to loot from there? That sounds like it's possible. Okay, let's find out what happens here together. The player would draw a card, except the first one they draw discards a card instead. Yeah, it says a card. It doesn't say would draw 1 or more cards. All right, let's see how this works. If they tap Ring. Oh no, they've had enough. They just realized they're not actually going to get any cards here. Nice. All right, well, we continue to uncover structural problems with our deck, but it turns out just shoving 4-drops and Hateful Permanents down the throat of this opponent and letting them kind of stumble into their own fail rate under minor pressure is enough. Cool, we're on the board. Let's go.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
I'm on the play in round number 3, and this hand is soft to Wasteland like for a minute, but I have Loam if it works, and I can also therapy main phase Bowmaster, sack the army, and retherapy. I'm going to keep. And I think I'm just going to blind fire therapy on Brainstorm into this opponent unless they do something that indicates otherwise. I don't know, like reveal a companion. That would have happened already, though. I've already kept my hand. Probably just doing this blind. If they mull to 5, I might name Dark Ritual instead. Just gotta pick a card, I guess. Maybe I should name Force of Will on the Cabal Therapy, and that way the Bowmasters are better, and if Bowmasters are in play on turn 2, I'm not even super worried if they have Brainstorm in their hand. Okay, moment of truth. I'm gonna name Force of Will. Though this just resolved like their F6'd. I'm gonna name Brainstorm. We got a Brainstorm. Oh, it turns out Dark Ritual would have been a safe name as well. Okay, cool. We are playing against Storm. And they're holding a Veil of Summer, which makes this Bowmaster a little wonky. I think I need a Bowmaster now. And they can Veil in response if they want. That's fine. But I can't let them get to a point where they can Brainstorm then Veil in response to Bowmaster. And I am going to ping myself so they don't get any value in stuffing the Bowmaster. Alright, so they can end-step Veil just to draw a card. Or they can save it to protect this Brainstorm. Thought seizing me. Okay. Good chance we lose the other Bowmaster here. Dak Faden can't even be cast, no matter what land I draw. Oh, the mana's a mess. Okay, I did draw a land. It doesn't matter. I attack with my stuff. Second main, flashback therapy. I do want to get this Brainstorm out of their hand. Or I want to get the Veil out of their hand, so then Brainstorm is worse. Alright, yep, there's the Veil, that's fine. We knew about that. I'm going to have to Bowmaster myself again. I have given them one Storm, basically, put myself to 18. Ball Therapy fizzles, and I'm just going to cast Loam with no targets. Now their Brainstorm is worse. Duress. Alright, the 2 Planeswalkers you knew about. Probably taking Minsk and Boo. More scared of that one than Dak, I have to imagine. Yep. Now this Brainstorm is the full brutal medicine if they ever choose to cast it. I am going to Dredge Loam. Cool. Hit the one basic island to cast Dak with next turn. Revealing Paradox Zone and Bogart and Anvil. Look on in fear and horror, opponent. These are the treats I have in store for you. And if they find just Infernal Tutor or some shit, they can just win without casting this Brainstorm or drawing any cards ever. But their life total is dropping. And they continue not to do anything. I'm not going to Dredge Loam now. Oh. Veteran Explorer, you're not good. Happy to loot that one away. Give my opponent a life point, because I have to. Dak's here. I'm going to target myself. Hope I don't get Bowmastered. Right, not going to Dredge Loam, not going to Dredge Loam, and not going to Dredge Loam. Oh, right. This isn't Brainstorm. I only get 2 of these. All right, I'm going to dump Minsk and Boo and Veteran Explorer and hold on to Chains, because I have big plans. Minsk and Boo might just be correct, but I am here for Team Chains. Okay, here's that Brainstorm. That means they're making their move. Or they have Veil. Those are the 2 things this means. Okay, upstairs with all these triggers. They could have Veil to stuff them, and I did cast a blue card this turn. Looks like we're just getting it, though. Opponent's at 9. Let's see what this ends up looking like for us. Oh, looks bad. Here they come. Whatever it is, it's happening. Bunch of rituals, LED. Second LED. Nas from 9. Let's party. Okay. Oh, discarded Past in Flames on the way out. Uh-oh. Infernal Tutor, is that enough? Am I just dead? I think so. They have black floating. Yep. Nods from 9 easily got there. It was basically just Demonic Tutor for Infernal Tutor. Even built one Storm off this Lotus Petal in the meantime. Tilt. And even if I somehow came up with some counterspell here, this one card in hand was, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm representing with Bayou other than Veil of Summer. I guess that would be pretty good here probably. But they can storm enough. They still have the Past in Flames, and then they can go 8, 9, 10, 11. Arrest me for good measure. They don't need to do any of that though. We're tutoring for tutors, building Storm that you don't need because I'm at 18. Kind of hoping for a Mind's Desire here. Tendrils is already lethal. They should just shove, but I'm in for Team Mind's Desire. They're just building crazy amounts of Storm through Past in Flames. They just tutored for a Cabal Writ. There's the Piff. Alright, now I guess I just have to hope they mess up somehow from being so fancy. Arresting my Chains of Mephistopheles. 3, 4, 5, 6. Exactly enough mana left. But they still have 2 rituals. They have tons of mana. I will not give them the pleasure of conceding. If they want to take this big convoluted line, I'm going to let them. I hope they get another ritual here and just keep showing off. Oh, coward. You backed off now? You could have gone deeper on the Infernal Tutor again. Alright, GG. Okay, Link to Dust. Drown in the Lock. Endurance. Pyroblast. Surgical. Shieldred. I just want all these cards. Punishing Fire doesn't do anything here, or does very little. Paradox Zone, way too slow. Contamination doesn't do anything. Shadow Spear, too slow. Anvil's really tough because I don't want to give them card selection. If Anvil shows up, but Chains doesn't, I'm going to be pretty bummed out. You have to win the game somehow, so Minsc and Boo's good for that. This is a deck with basic lands in it. Veteran Explorer is as good for them as it is for me. But I'm still a big mana strategy. Probably gonna need it. Or, yeah, I don't think I can afford to Anvil them. I mean, the Shouldreds do something with Anvil, but it's not really a thing. Okay. Weird set of matchups that required boarding out significant parts of what this deck actually does in every matchup, but at least it's been a moving target. Like, I cut the Anvil sometimes, I cut the Veteran Explorer sometimes. There's just too many engines in the deck. I'm going to keep my hand. And I think I'm going to Cabal Therapy naming Thoughtseize. Or do I name Veil of Summer? Just clear the launch pad. I'm going to say Veil. Right, Veil of Summer. Missed completely. I'm just getting turn 1. Cool. Alright, great. Yeah, this is a powerful hand. And Dark Ritual is the one that, or Lion's Eye Diamond are both reasonable names. I think I might just be rusty on Cabal Therapy, because Lion's Eye Diamond, back in the Grixis Delver days, I would have named that, I think, 10 times out of 10, blind on the start against a Storm deck. And here I am just not doing that instead. Oh, found a Veil of Summer. Cool. Okay, Burning Wish. Oh, are we going to Desire here? Or are we going to PETA? PETA makes more sense, even though obviously I would have fun with Desire. Mind's Desire, let's go. I don't think there's any reason to randomly surgical one of the cards, because Mind's Desire casts all the stuff for free. Just kind of have to hope they whiff here, I guess. Yeah, it's just mana sources that don't matter. There's not a payoff in their graveyard I could hit. Thoughtseize, Gnaws. Another Burning Wish, cool. Alright. They can Duress me, Thoughtseize me. Does Surgical do anything now? If I hit LED, and they don't have the mana right now to cast Tendrils, even if they wish for it. So I'm gonna go after Lion's Eye Diamonds with Surgical. It builds Storm, it reduces my life total, but we're in desperation mode here. And if I just named LED with that Cabal Therapy like I was supposed to, what am I even doing? This is just a complete punt. My blind name skills are softer than they were 6 years ago. We just don't play with this card enough anymore. Here's the Naz. All they have to do is come up with 1 mana, and they have Chrome Mox here. Yeah, the Chrome Mox from exile, Chrome Mox from hand, exile 2 black cards, Burning Wish for Tendrils. Cool, we're done. Oof. And they did have turn 1, but I did name on Therapy wrong. If we're just not a Veteran Explorer deck, if those Cabal Therapy slots are Thoughtseize and Veteran Explorer is some sort of relevant spell, that improves our mana, it improves this turn, we just strip the Burning Wish, we never lose this game, etc., etc. Fully admitting there was a punt at the core of that, but the first punt is in deck building. On to the next round. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting TCG events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 1v1 and 4-player Swiss structure tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no download required. Get access for just $5 at eminence.event/subscribe. I'm on the play for round 4. I have some Bowmasters, some Sagas and stuff. I'm going to keep. I'm not inspired by this hand, but I mean, this is the deck, right? Just going to Bloodstain Mire and pass. I can Bowmaster, and then I can Anvil, and then we can start getting card selection and pinging the opponent on the regular. Try to trick my opponent with the old Bloodstain Mire Urza Saga deck. It's possible I should main phase this Bowmaster, but I want to be a little greedy here. Okay, we're playing its High Tide. All right, Guaranteed Desire deck. I played this on the channel a couple days ago. It's pretty cool. And I'm going to Bowmaster now so they can't get Force of Will with this Merchant Scroll. This is a super annoying card for them to deal with. Maybe they get Snap now that they've seen the Bowmaster, but maybe if that doesn't happen, then they get Force of Will. Maybe they already have Force of Will and they just need to get a High Tide off of this scroll. We're going to find out. I played Mind's Desire High Tide on the channel earlier this week. Go check that out. If you missed it, that was a really fun league. Excited for the things to come in this format with Mind's Desire. There's Force of Will pitching Brainstorm. Okay, cool. Oh, bummer, you've answered my Bowmaster. Wink, 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 wink. Grabbing a High Tide. Cool, I don't have to commit my other Urza Saga to the board yet. And I am going to main phase this Bowmaster. I don't want to play whack-a-mole, cat and mouse around Brainstorms. I'm just going to put this face up right now and say, you only get to draw 18 more cards this game. Which is actually... That seems like a silly thing to say, but also matters a lot against exactly this deck. All right, they're going for it. High Tide, Candelabra, can untap all their lands, and then they can get a Spiral going, or they can Desire for 3, which is not very much. Second Candle, okay. Wouldn't it be better to untap your lands first? You untap all 3 lands, rather than just untap 2 lands? They could have untapped all their lands twice here. Instead, they're gonna miss on one of them. Is that right? I don't know. That feels like it was sequenced incorrectly. They're still gonna end up with 7 mana here, but they could have had 6. You use one of it to play Candle, and then there's 5, and then you do all the rest of the shit. Okay, they got a second High Tide. Last card in hand. Are we desiring for 6 or are we spiraling? Desire for 6. Here it comes. Island. Safe. Island. Safe. 4 more to go. Island. Safe. Halfway there. Time Spiral. Tilt, but at least Bowmaster does the thing. Island. Safe. And... Brainstorm. Okay, that punishes... Alright, Bowmaster is good for 10 damage off that Mind's Desire. And they're going to Spiral here. We both get fresh hands. They take 7. The next Desire is going to be a problem. But they're not going to get many more Spirals this game. And if they pass the turn, they die to my army. Another Candle. I'm a mana short of this Punishing Fire, which is a shame, because that could change the number of draws they think they get this game. Turnabout, targeting yourself, untapping all your artifacts. Ponder, okay. They're feeling the squeeze. When they get to 7 life, I'll start being happy. Did not shuffle. I don't like that. Starting to float with their candles. Granted. Uh-oh. This can probably get a snap, and then they're just off. Yep, they got snap. We're in trouble. Okay, I'm ready to F6 now, and hope they whiff, but they've got a lot going on in this Brainstorm in Exile. They could also discard 2 cards. They can replay Fae of Wishes, discard 2 cards, put it back in their hand, and grant it again. And they have plenty of mana to do all that. Ponder, Preordain, Merchant Scroll. Bad news. Another Tide. There's the Fae, and then they can bounce the Fae, discarding 2 lands. They have Wishes and 1 other card in their hand right now. This could be a Zenith yourself for value, and then get the party going, and then Zenith me later. Oh, Brain Freeze. Does this just kill me? And the Storm is there. Checking my deck to make sure I don't have any tricks to beat this. I do not. Okay, I'm going to concede before they see my whole deck. Okay. That did come down to a Desire paying out and Bowmaster getting countered. Bring in my interaction here. In Endurance, I don't think I want Endurance. It's a thing that does play pretty well if they go for a Brain Freeze line and I happen to be holding an Endurance anyway, which are 2 big ifs. I absolutely cannot trigger Veteran Explorer in this matchup. Just not even an option. So stupid. Okay. Punishing Fire doesn't matter. Contamination's actually the nut here. I don't think they can beat that if we get it going. Paradox Zone, that seems so bad. Force of Vigor could hit some candles, I guess. Just looking for anything to do anything. Shadow Spear is not part of the game. Assassin's Trophy, killing 1 island, turning into a different island is not going to matter. I don't have Veil of Summers. Are any cards just bad here? Yeah, I actually think I should be playing the Endurances, probably over the Anvils. Yeah, Anvil giving your combo opponent card selection is such a spew. Oh, I wish this combo was better. I've run into this exact problem every time I've played any version of Anvil Chains. It's just that Anvil of Bogarden is not a good Magic card on its own. I will keep this one and see if we can get the chains chaining. This is very good against the Draw 7 theme deck. It's bad against Echoing Truth. It's also nice that this is a combo deck we don't have to worry about getting turn 1'd. They actually can't win with less than 3 lands in play. Firing off a Preordain. Please tell me there's a fetchable blue source in the deck. Okay, there is an Underground Sea. Good. Because I have to fetch for red-blue over the next 2 turns, because Bayou doesn't cast Dak. Topped Preordain. And I do think Chains into Dak is better than Saga here, or Chains into Saga. Guess I have Forest in my hand. Underground Sea is a black source. I'll have double black. If I get Taiga, I'll have double green. Yeah, this is better than Badlands. It just has to be a red source. And we'll start the squeeze. Chains of Mephistopheles on the stack. Force pitching Time Spiral. Okay. Throwing a Spiral is pretty nice. Don't love that they had the Force, but I mean, if I thought seized them, I probably would have taken that Time Spiral, and now it's gone. Scroll for Turnabout. Okay, they already have High Tide if they're getting Turnabout now. And do I want to get blue invested? Does that matter? Just deciding on my land here. I have Pyroblast in my deck that if they spiral us, and I have to mill as well, I think I want to fetch Underground Sea, leaving up red, and play the other chains. I think that's my best option here. Yep, chains getting both of us. They could just Time Spiral for mutually assured destruction. Though in that world, maybe it's better to have Urza Saga in play. But having Dak and not being able to play it is so shitty. Okay, they're going for it. High Tide. Candle. Storm is 2. We know about Turnabout. They can minimum Desire for 4 here. 6 in the pool. Turnabout. Targeting yourself. Didn't float mana. Interesting. Okay. It's missed out on 2 mana there. Building Storm. Okay. For some reason, the Storm count is not being displayed right now, but 4. Okay. Hit a High Tide. Land. High Tide. Moment of Truth. Turnabout. Okay. Well, they have 1 card left in their hand. They can Tide Turnabout and have a fudge-zillion mana for whatever that last card in their hand is. I need to hope it's not another Desire. They've untapped their lands. Tide. Oh, and now they're passing the turn. You should play the other High Tide. At least get it in the graveyard. Just leaving it in exile forever? So weird. Okay. Sheoldred looks really good. I'm going to play Urza Saga and Sheoldred. And we can't really be sure if the last card in their hand is a cantrip, a time spiral, or just they just whiffed. But Chains may have just won us this game, or they may have just not gotten where they wanted to go. Get him Sheoldred. It's time. Flooded Strand. Still 1 mystery card in hand. Or are we about to learn what it is? Or are we Mystic Sanctuarying up Desire? That's not even good. Or what's going on here? And they chose to leave one of the the High Tides in exile. So there's 1, 2 of them in their graveyard, 1 in exile. There's only 1 High Tide left in their deck to get anything going with. I feel good about this game. Unless they hit me with the spicy side tech. I don't know, what would they have here? Jace Telepath Unbound. Sheoldred beats that. I don't know. Okay, here we are. Back in the sideboard, and I think this is still the best deck I can present. Assassin's Trophy is just not really an option against this deck that uses its islands. Like, what am I going to do? Kill a Gandalf and they untap all their lands in response, then get another land off it? 2 Cabal Therapies and no other cards. This is a vibe here. I think I am going to keep this, though, because they need High Tide. Like, they do require a specific Magic card to even start pretending to play the game. Okay, they mulled a 5. That makes my therapy less likely to hit, unfortunately. I ponder. I think I'm not going to therapy this turn, unless I draw a Bowmaster or something that wants me to have 2 mana. Because, like I said, they can't win off 2 lands. It's not a thing the deck's capable of. Oh, or I could just play 2 therapies right now. But I think I'd still rather just have more info next turn. Yeah, I'm going to let them draw through this Ponder they kept, and then I'm going to therapy them twice. Because if they just hit a High Tide on top with Ponder, now I can mess with that. If they Merchant Scroll this turn, I can just clip whatever they get. Brainstorm in my upkeep, sure. They're playing around Bowmaster and playing into therapy with that one. I like it. Ooh, Bowmaster off the top. That's fun. I'm going to therapy naming High Tide. Therapy naming High Tide. We got one, and there's 2 candles over there. Wow. Okay. I have to take the... Oh, wait. I get to do both. I was about to say I have to play the therapy, but no. The Mox Diamond finally delivering. And I can play Bowmaster, ping them, flashback off the army, and they're going to be in a world of hurt. Ping you, Cabal Therapy, name Candelabra of Tawnos. But yeah, they're just conceding. Won't even let me do anything. Okay, sweet. Picked apart a combo deck that mulled to 5. There is a running theme in all BoshNRoll videos where when my deck might be a little ambitious or a little sus, we dodge the reverse trophy by beating random combo decks, either with a powerful sideboard card or them running into their fail rate. And we're currently 2-2. We beat 2 combo decks, and 1 ran into their fail rate, and 1 we savaged with discard and sideboard cards. So, cool. We're right on expectation and somehow playing for a positive record. Let's go do it. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop. And be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I'm on the play in the final round, positive record on the line. I have Contamination and Urza Saga deck without the mana to cast it. Minsc and Boo plus Contamination is a lock. But you have to play the Contamination second, or else you can't cast the Minsc and Boost. We're looking at like a turn 5 lockout, and just clinging for dear life in the meantime. If this is any kind of legacy deck with spells in it, yeah, this hand is probably not good enough. The one thing that it has going for it is Urza's Saga. I could just Verdant Catacombs go, Urza's Saga start ticking Saga up, and once they deal with Saga, the Minsc can show up and contaminate them. Yeah, maybe I'll try it. I just have to hope that there's some grindy blue deck. If there's any combo deck, we're dead. And just generally, the way that the deck is constructed here, like I'm not looking for a Ponder, I'm not looking for a Force of Will. Those things are not present. They're not going to happen. So what am I looking for? Am I going to mulligan to Hammer Bogarden? I don't think so. Dwarven Mine. Yikes. Okay. Or Dwarven Ruins. This is probably some kind of all-in Storm Desire deck. Play from the Loam. I'm happy to see that. Okay, Urza Saga, trigger, fetch for... It has to be green, and I need it to be red for Dak. So fetch Taiga, and then Loam my thing back. All right, I mean, that's a start. That was a turn full of activity. What I hope for here is they play some artifact, like play a Wishclaw Talisman or even a Mox Opal, something to feed me. But nope, they're playing the full Perfect Storm from Old Extended here. The sack lands, the 2-mana sack lands from Invasion, this just is the Old Mind's Desire deck. Now I have to decide if I want to Blind Therapy naming Mind's Desire, or if I want to use Urza Saga. I can also just play Dak and do some looting, but like we've said, there's no Force of Will. What am I looting for? I think what I'm going to do is let the Saga do its thing here. Just hope that I get one more turn. If they're on the tap land mana base, and maybe they can Desire for 5 or 6 here, or maybe they just play another tap land and pass. I don't know. City of Traders. Looks like it's go time on something. Oh, unless this is Creative Technique, and we're not even doing that. Uh-oh. Okay, so I'm dead. I got tricked by the Mind's Desire. This is actually the Creative Technique deck. Uh-oh. Okay, well, they are now going to shuffle their deck till they hit a card, and then this card will just go and go, and eventually they end up with an Emrakul, is how this works. I am planning to play this deck on the channel. Currently, Creative Technique is 80 tickets, and also Card Hoarder doesn't have them, all due to how these cards are released on MTGO, which is based on they are placed in treasure chests at a low drop rate. They're not in packs. You can't like get them anywhere. It's kind of a mess. Okay, I can play Currency Converter. They gave me a Creative Technique, demonstrated it. But this is a deterministic line to Emrakul with haste and whatever else they want to do. I'm dead here, but I am going to let them run it out, because if I can't play the deck on the channel due to cost, let's at least feature it. Yeah, so as we can see here, even if we don't end up on Emrakul, there's a bunch of creatures, and they're all going to have haste. We're approaching lethal damage if we're not there already. 15, 18, yeah, not quite lethal, but very close. Oh yeah, all these boarding parties, this is already lethal. Okay, I believe I've demonstrated what the deck does. They did their thing, they have lethal. Okay, I misread what my opponent was doing. Not that it matters. I couldn't stop it anyway. And wow, I don't really have anything for this. Pyroblast doesn't hit any card in their deck that matters. They don't use their graveyard. They don't necessarily use artifacts or enchantments. Assassin's Trophy, I guess, could hit Maelstrom Wanderer and their creatures lose haste, and then I have to be alive for a turn. I guess that sort of Hail Mary. Oh, maybe Assassin's Trophy can be Sinkhole, and I just take out their tap lands before they can get going. Yeah, I think that's the one. Okay. Cabal Therapy is tough because no specific spell in their deck actually matters. Any spell they cast will result in that thing happening. and it's just full whack-a-mole. Currency converter, I don't believe for a second that matters. And a handful of Bogerton, as usual, gets the cut. Locking them out with contamination is a real out here. And maybe I do want surgical. Or punishing fire can't actually be good here. If I want if I use surgical, maybe I can get a creative technique into the graveyard and then their cascade chain breaks. Okay, I'll try that. Going first with, I could turn 1 chains, which I don't know if that matters in this matchup. Beseju's cool. I will keep this and I will turn 1 chains. Okay, Bayou, and I'm going to discard the Underground Sea. The Mox Diamond does that already. I turn 1 chains. Can we leverage it? There's a Tinder Farm. Beseju can poke that. Oh, Bowmasters. Okay. Creative Technique is going to be my name for Cabal Therapy. Creative Technique. We got 2. And we've got the Throes of Chaos. Interesting. I think I fetched Taiga here. Bowmasters comes in. Ping my opponent. Throes of Chaos has Retrace, so discarding it basically doesn't matter. Ball Therapy you again. Pick the Boarding Party. Okay. That was about as good a start as we could ask for. And they can Ancient Tomb Throes of Chaos right now. Cascading down to a 3. I don't know what that does, but obviously they've constructed their deck in this way for a reason. Tybalt's Trickery, that hits the throws, and then we just get going again. Hit another Tybalt's Trickery. Which hit oh my god! Alright, we're dead. Yep, there's that. Cool. That was a combo-heavy league. We beat 2 of them, we lost to 2 of them, and then we lost to Delver. The construction of this deck, I mean, I've said a lot about it, and props to Milan for boldly treading where no one's tread before. I think what I would do to this deck is cut the Veteran Explorer, cut this whole package. It's just not good, and it hurts our ability to play a 4-color Magic deck. We're trying to cast spells of all 4 colors while having 3 Urza Sagas in the deck and playing 5 basic lands. This is too aggressive. I would cut Veteran Explorer. I'd turn Cabal Therapy into probably Thoughtseize if you want to continue playing discard spells, and I think you do. 3 or 4 of those, turn every single one of these basics into a non-basic. I don't know if Urza Saga is even helpful or good in this deck. Those could also be non-basic lands that use mana. At least 2 of the Anvils, I think, should become something else. That card is just so bad on its own. Chains can solo a game, but Anvil cannot. Anvil can lose you a game. So 4 Chains, 2 or 3 Anvils. That frees up 4, 5, 6 deck spots minimum. Get your Assassin's Trophies in. Maybe play some main deck Drown on the Locks. Yeah, just turn the Nickfit Shell and the most fringe of the cute fringe in the deck into real defensible Legacy Magic cards. And then I think we're doing something a little more interesting. Like I said, after round 1, there's the Anvil Chains cutesy engine. There's the Contamination Lock cutesy engine. And then there's also Nickfit cutesy engine. And for some reason, Urza Saga. So we have 4 different game plans in a shell. Strifopile is a well-established, perfectly good shell. Excellent Magic deck. And I'm all for the experimentation method of taking an established Magic deck and turning some of its slots into a cutesy engine. But we have too many engines here. We've basically cut everything that makes Strifopile viable Magic deck and turned it into a commander deck that didn't quite function. So pick 1.5 of these 4 engines that you want to try here and refocus the deck around them. And that's my advice for this. But we did win 2 matches, which is 2 more than other decks I've played. other decks that look better than this one have put up. So shout out to Milan for making it happen at least a little bit here. And if we smooth out these rough edges, you could play Strifopile with a fun little engine hidden within it. And I think that would be pretty good. Milan, thank you once again for another deck. Chainbow on the books. Appreciate everybody watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.